All right, there's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we've got to start at this video that has been circulating, and here's Friends of Simon W. Center. A video is being shared, they say, widely on social media that depicts a protester in Belleville yelling, quote, "You're a pathetic Jew," at least twice to Prime Minister Trudeau. Protest is essential to any democracy, but hatred spreads when it's tolerated. We urge any media sharing the video to condemn this vile expression of anti-Semitism. And Trish Wood says this needs a forensic analysis before everyone goes sideways. Not sure why someone would think Trudeau is Jewish, because he's not Jewish. He doesn't look Jewish. Like, what, Jewish? And agitators were used by the Liberals at the convoy. Yes, they were. I beg you to please investigate before buying in. Many good people passionately oppose this prime minister. And she continues, it appears the words were pathetic puke. Unpleasant for sure, but perhaps media and NGOs should start investigating why so many Canadians are so pissed off instead of smearing Trudeau. Critics as asked why so many feel wounded by this government. So here is the video. We'll play it. And I can hear why they would think that the other thing was said at first. But the second time the person says it, it's very clearly puke. So anyway, here we go.
You're a pathetic Jew! You are a pathetic Jew! You're all a bunch of pathetic Jews! Off the street! Off the street! You're a pathetic Jew! You are a
Have you seen, and just to put it out there, because sometimes people hear what they want to hear, and there's a whole video thing on Twitter where if you look at a word, that's the word you hear, and you can look on the one side and it says needle, but on the other side it says Davisville or something like that. I don't know, something else weird. Not Davisville, it doesn't say that, but it says needle and then something that's not needle. So the whole, like, you can hear what you want, but he definitely does not say Jew. The whole thing is manufactured. It's really, really strange. Melissa Lantzman says anti-Semitism is alive and well in our streets, in our school boards, in our unions, and even in our own government. Sharing and resharing a clip with overt Jew hatred so casually should give everyone pause because it's frightening. This targets the Jewish community in a vile way. And Brett says, why do the Liberals from the CPC always fall for the race baiting crap and try to play professional victims? 24 hours later, and Melissa Lantzman still chooses to perpetrate the lie that rather than delete her BS tweet. Pathetic. Okay. And so this is yesterday, right? 5:43 p.m. on the 21st, 2 days ago. Brian Lilly says, calling Justin Trudeau a pedophile, a criminal, and a pathetic Jew is ignorant, disgusting, and wrong. The people doing it say they want him out of office. Instead, they're helping him stay there. They're jumping all over this like it's a huge political win for Justin Trudeau. And it's weird. Here's Laurie Goldstein. He says, our Sunday Sun media editorial, out of control protests justify tighter security. You guys went too far, you protesters, and calling Justin Trudeau names that you didn't call him. And so that justifies tighter security. Out of control protests, right? Here's CBC Watcher, and he's sharing Belleville, Ontario mayor condemns hateful discriminatory behavior during the Prime Minister's visit. And CBC Watcher says, this CTV story makes no mention that the Belleville mayor was a Liberal MP under Trudeau from 2015 until he was defeated in 2021. But selective media facts, right? So this guy is as insider as you can get, and now he's the mayor of a city that Justin Trudeau happens to make a stop at, and there's a whole hubbub, right? In no less one of the safest cities in Canada, right? Inkit.ca says Belleville named one of Canada's safest cities, and that's according to this Canadian publication, and this is the mayor, right? And he's mayor of the city of Belleville. And he says, this news speaks to the fantastic work that Belleville Police Station is doing every day. We're pleased to have received this recognition, and I hope this brings some additional comfort to residents. We should all be very proud to be part of such a great community. Okay, so this was July 6th. Now, July 21st, Justin Trudeau is accosted in Belleville, and this happens, right? And again, this is a strange situation, similar to the abortion discussion with the PPC supporter, okay? Ray says, I'm not a huge fan of Justin, but he's got people inches away from his face screaming nonsense, and he doesn't drop his smile and keeps shaking hands and taking selfies. It's kind of badass, or it's kind of staged, right? Here's the footage of this, right? If Justin Trudeau or his many armed security guards felt like he was in any danger at all, or felt like this was not part of the plan, they would have removed that guy like he was a grandmother asking about paying for immigration. Right? Holy smoke. They would have swarmed him, gotten rid of him, right? Jeepers creepers, you can't say that here, madam. What are you talking about? That is racist, and it might hurt Justin Trudeau's feelings.
Arrest him! You're a criminal! You're a criminal! You're the reason why my kids can't get a apartment, nothing! You're a piece of criminal! You're a criminal! You need to be arrested! Such a big
So, I think that there's something hinky with this whole thing. This is Mayor of Belleville again, okay? Just wanted to show you that's what he's responding to, okay? Here's what he says. After taking some time to reflect, this is from yesterday at 10 in the morning. I would like to address the actions of certain individuals during our visit from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau this past Thursday. While every Canadian has the right to protest, this hateful and discriminatory behavior displayed by some during the visit was absolutely unacceptable. It's an honor to host the Prime Minister at our city, and regardless of your political views, no person deserves the treatment he received during his time here. The freedom of speech and the right to protest can be a wonderful thing. It's a part of what makes our democracy great. However, what happened on Thursday was far beyond that. On behalf of the city, I'd like to thank Prime Minister Trudeau for taking the time to visit Belleville and hope that we can all move forward from this experience. Do you think that it would be important for people to understand who Neil Ellis is when he's saying everybody should, regardless of their political viewpoints, no person deserves treatment like that, blah, 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 blah. Do you think that people should understand that he's a former Liberal MP? And I know I said this, I just wanted to prove it. Here's from Wikipedia. Neil Ellis is a Canadian politician currently serving as the mayor of Belleville, Ontario. He is a former Liberal member of Parliament who was elected to represent the riding of the Bay of Quinte in the House of Commons of Canada in the 2015 federal election. Okay? And so do you think that maybe a conflict of interest, or at the very least, being a Liberal MP under this Prime Minister would influence something? Like, most people, I think, would kind of agree with what he's saying here if it was taken at face value, if this was a legitimate protest and it wasn't somebody agitating or using agitators in order to make the Prime Minister look like a sympathetic subject or enable him to play victim, people to say that anti-Semitism is terrible, even though there was no anti-Semitism at all. All of these things are happening because of this, and it seems like a former MP stop that was not on the itinerary. These protesters who showed up anyway, it all just stinks, just enough. Like, you're not sure if the milk's off. Like, you hit the bag. Anybody who doesn't live in Ontario has no idea what I'm talking about, but in Ontario, milk comes in bags. It does. Plastic bags, single-use plastic bags. The horror, right? Anyway, so if you're not sure about whether or not the milk is good, you tap the bag a little bit and you smell it. And sometimes, because the air coming out is it smells like the milk. And sometimes you're not sure until you pour it, right? Sometimes you're not sure until you take your first mouthful. Doesn't happen so much anymore, but I remember doing that kind of often. Kirk says, Canadians face 2 years of financial hardship over COVID. Many dealt with personal finance ruin, and many had their businesses destroyed. Many are still dealing with the fallout. Bank of Canada touted low interest rates for a long time. Asterisk 6 months. And encouraged people to take out loans, mortgages, invest. The Liberal government did the same. With no regard to fiscal policy, they powered ahead with reckless spending. Canadians are now facing the highest inflation and interest rates in decades. Many are skipping meals. Many can barely afford the roof over their heads. Many will not when the mortgages and rent comes to renewal. Majority can't afford to buy a home. Canadians face devastating financial hardship 3 out of the last 4 years. Meanwhile, the government is spending $71,000 on limo rides, jetting around the world and Canada with champagne photo ops, sending billions of dollars overseas and patting themselves on the back that 11 million people needed and qualified for a few dollars in aid to eat. If you don't understand why people are mad, why Justin Trudeau is being met with boos, FUs, and being called a pathetic puke, then you don't understand what Canadians are dealing with and what's going on in Canada. So on the one side, this whole thing could be a liberal plan to cast Trudeau as the victim and so on and so forth, as I've said. Or it could just be a legitimate group of people who found out Trudeau was going to be in Belleville and they showed up to tell him, F you, buddy. Either way, it is being used in a way to bolster Trudeau. And I said that it doesn't make people look good to behave like this. It doesn't make the counter-Trudeau movement to behave like that. And I think that they know that and they try and accentuate that. The people who are animated and active protesters like that. But at the same time, I've seen people who seem legitimate, who are that angry, who will act out like that. And so I'm not trying to condemn that. I'm just trying to say it's very interesting where the truth is kind of unknowable, right? Like unless you know somebody who was legitimately going to that protest because they were mad, then I'd ask who organized it? How did they organize it? Can I see the chat messages that organized it? When I ran there was a protest in Guelph a little while ago in 2021 when the mandates were still in, but it was clear there was no reason for mandates to be in. People were joining groups, and my group, and I had a private group, I guess, or a semi-private group talking about protesting and whatever. And then somebody else kind of came in. It wasn't my group, I don't think. It was like a Guelph group. So I joined the Guelph group. And then people came in to recruit protesters. And they were saying, we're really going to stick it to the man. We're going to do it like this and so on and so forth, trying to take the audience that was kind of organically drawn to discuss strategies to deal with what's going on regarding mask mandates and vaccine mandates and so on. And this person came in with the answers saying, we're going to protest. This is how we're going to protest. These are the signs we're going to use. And I was like, well, like, who made you the leader, first of all? I don't know that I believe you, that you're not some astroturfed like person to make us look foolish. Like when we get there, who else is going to be there? They were promising celebrity protesters. And I was like, I don't know about this. And so it seems like even if you get some people who are legitimately there because yes, 100% this is real, how did that all coalesce? Right? Chris Sky, I have questions about how that all coalesced. It seems like you can't do all that by yourself sometimes, right? And I know he's got a team. Like, it's obvious he's got a team. He talks about his team. There's video footage of a team. So they're working with people, and it's interesting to me. There's more than meets the eye here on every single level with Justin Trudeau and the whole aspect of these protests and how they're being used to confuse, how they're being used to silence legitimate protests. It's other level, and even getting to the bottom of it seems difficult, and it shouldn't seem that difficult. Hello everyone, thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to canadapoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful